Good morning, everyone. Excited to have you guys be here and learn some more about Dotloop. So we have got Matt Barton, who is your principal broker. You guys that are from Utah. I'm not sure if we have anyone from California on. So if we do, I guess make sure to throw that in chat box so that they know. But anyway, excited to have them here. They're going to walk you through what you need to know about Dotloop to get your business up and running. And with that, I will turn it over to Matt and Ellery.
All right, thanks, Russ. I appreciate that. Now listen, just because Russ wears a tie and a suit doesn't mean that I'm any less reputable. COVID has been really rough on me.
It means he's more reputable.
I lost my hair on top mostly and transferred it down here. Anyway, so Russ, this is Ellery Brown. She is our manager of the OAs and TCs and a general expert on all things Dotloop. So Russ, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yeah, I just made you actually the host. So
good. So I can actually terminate your connection.
What's that?
Can I terminate your connection at any time?
Please.
All right.
Please do.
So who else do we have on here? I see Shannon. She's the only one I see showing her video. Who else is on? Okay, Kyle Russell. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate the video. Philip, awesome. Anybody else? All right. Well, for the few of you that have, Philip, let me start with you. Give me your 30-second on how you wound up at Century 21 and why real estate. And the rest of you be prepared.
I started out in the medical field actually, and I was at Primary Children's for a bit, and one kiddo broke down my wall and I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I did architecture out of high school and I kind of liked it. I just didn't want to design houses. So real estate lets me go and see all the cool houses and interact with people. So that's why I chose.
Fantastic. Well, I got to tell you, my fifth kid spent 3 weeks at Primary Children's. So what a great place. He turned out to be my favorite kid. So thanks to Primary Children's. The other four, yeah.
Well, at least we got to save that one.
That's right. All right, Shannon, same thing.
Hold on a second. So I actually don't have my real estate license yet. My friend Alicia Davis, she is an agent there. She approached me end of last year and said, come work for me as a coordinator. Has totally talked me into all of it. So I'm going to be her coordinator along with some other people's. And I'm in the process of getting my license to work with them.
Fantastic. And I would encourage you to keep going on your license because transaction coordination is very important. And this class will be very helpful for you. It helps organize so that it's not a chicken with head cut off exercise, which some TCs operate that way. We don't encourage it. Doesn't lend to longevity, but with your license, you can also turn a couple of deals to supplement your income. So good job. Kyle, tell me about you.
I just barely got my real estate license like a couple weeks ago. I was contacted by a recruiting agent. I think Lindsay was her name, and she reached out to me. I just decided to go in and have like a little meeting, and I just really liked what Century 21 had to offer. And I just kind of figured, might as well, I just need to start with one just because I'm so new. So I didn't do a lot of interviewing with tons of brokerages. It was just kind of, for me, it was like C21's huge and they offer really great training, obviously. So I stuck with it. Just chose real estate because I have a lot of dreams that kind of just involve real estate, owning real estate. So it's the starting step.
I appreciate that, Kyle. And let me just tell you two things. One, I've done this for 20 years. I came in as an agent and I did go and I interviewed everybody. In fact, being the analytical, I created a spreadsheet. I still have it to this day, showing the bottom line of all the brokerages. And I ended up going with one that netted me the most money. And almost a year later, I left. Let me just tell you a funny quick story. I interviewed and showed up, and the day I showed up there, I saw my principal broker, and his name was Scott Hansen, and he had a name tag on, right? Scott Hansen, and he had a tagline under it. Want to know what that tagline said? Scott Hansen, pretty much a bum. And he lived up to that name tag, I'll tell you what. And so the cheapest is not always the best, because less than a year later, I switched over to a larger local independent and started to hit it out of the park because they did have good training. They've now gone by the wayside because that large independent ground is hard. It's untenable anymore given the changes in the industry. So anyway, I sold my company to George and John 6 years ago. And I had a higher offer from another firm, from Coldwell Banker, and I went with George and John because I liked what I saw. Some of the things you're echoing. So I congratulate you on making the right choice, and I hope you get to live up to some of those dreams.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Julie, tell me a little bit about yourself. Julie, you're muted. There you go.
Well, I've actually had my license since 2006, and I've been to a couple other brokerages. Gee, I wish I had this training back in 2006. My husband and I actually kind of got into rental properties for the last several years, got caught in the crash of 2008. We've recovered. We're debt free. And now I'm at a time in my life where I'm able to just do this full time. And I just found Century 21 about a month and a half ago, and I already feel like this is home. I think I'll be here forever. So happy to be here.
Like to hear that. And I tell you what, anybody that made it through 08, 09 has earned their stripes. And if you're debt free coming out of that, good for you. You're well positioned. One quick note, and this, Ellery will tell you I do this. I know we're going to jump into Dotloop, but I like to make a connection. You know, we're up against some interesting times with COVID. Do you realize back in March, and you'll see this over and over and over again in the real estate industry. I hope you newer people let this register in your head. Anytime something scary happens, like COVID was really scary, it is still scary. But immediately people are saying, well, that's going to be the end of real estate. We're going to have a big collapse. What has happened since March? Anybody chime in? What's happened with real estate? It's freaking white hot, right? We don't even have enough inventory. So just anytime you hear these naysayers say, oh my gosh, you know, it's the end of real estate in one shape, form or another, just realize everybody has to live somewhere. And it doesn't matter, good market, bad market, we have to move, we have to buy, we have to sell. So don't buy into the hype. You're being a pawn if you do, okay? All right, let's see. Marissa, are you on? I don't have any video for you.
Yes, I am. So yeah, I am not feeling super great, so I am not turning my video on. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll turn it on tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, so I have had my license for a little over 2 years. I've been in the mortgage business for the last 5. So it's kind of been like my part-time hustle. And I, with what's gone on with the market, with this crazy refinance boom, I decided if I'm going to be working 80 hours a week nonstop, I may as well put my license to use. And I'm at that point where I'm ready to go full time.
Awesome.
One of my loan officers knew Mackenzie, which is who I interviewed with. And I agree with the other gal that was just speaking with Julie, is I wish I would have known about this training 2.5 years ago when I started with Keller Williams. I'm super, super excited about everything that Century 21 has to offer. So yeah.
Can I make a plug?
Absolutely.
So Ellery and I, so I'm principal broker. We break up our, and I hope you don't ever think of these as negative terms, risk management and compliance. It doesn't like make you feel warm and cuddly until you're in trouble. Right. But
when they walk up to your desk, no, it does not make you feel fuzzy and warm.
Exactly. But being at 5, this is my 5th company, including the one I owned. And
Okay.
I've been association president down for Utah Central Association. I'm heavily involved in a lot of things, chair of the board of the MLS. I get to see a lot of other brokerages. And there's good brokerages out there, but what is the main reason people come to us to do real estate? I'm asking you that, Marissa.
What brought me is honestly the energy. Like everyone that I spoke with, I mean, one of my second time to go back and, you know, they're like, do you want to start with us? And I was like, honestly, like I'm blown away by everything that you're telling me and all of this training and everything else. But I, like Kyle, like I didn't talked to a lot of brokerages. I went with the last brokerages because that's who I had friends that were with. So I just hung my license there. This one I did. I was like, I'm sorry, I'd love to tell you yes right now. I want to take a week and do my due diligence. And then that's when I met with Ruby. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I understand that she's a coach for her job. But speaking with her for the hour that I did speak with her, I love the fact that everyone here has been so real. I mean, for a grown man to get and do this summit and speak about being in the shower in 2008 and crying more tears than water's coming out of his shower, like that hit me hard. Like being real and being authentic meant so much to me. So it was basically the energy, the connection, and the realness.
Yeah, appreciate that. Flip side of that, that's from the agent perspective. Why do you think clients, the public, engage as a realtor? Why don't they just sell stuff themselves?
Well, some do try to sell it themselves, and then when they see that they can make more with an agent, I've actually gone with a Century 21 realtor before, and that was when I was selling a home. And the reason I didn't go with the other agent is because this agent, oh my gosh, he charged 7%. Imagine me knowing what I know now instead of just signing on, but he earned that 7% and got us more money than any of the other agents that we had spoken with. Just the trust. I mean, it's a well-known name.
There you go. You hit the key word, trust, right? And
yes,
people are looking for trust because the public in general, they don't sell houses every day. It's
correct.
big, it's scary. There's a lot of moving parts. And I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. The good agents who do a good job will be near and dear to people for a long time. And I want you to remember this. Don't ever look at your clients as a point transaction. Look at them as a revenue stream, because if you do the business right, they will be a revenue stream. You'll get their repeat business, you'll get their friends and their families, and that's when the business gets fun. When you're just doing point transactions, right? And listen, there's nothing wrong with buying leads and doing that to start to build your sphere of influence. But the sooner you can get to a solid sphere of influence business, that's when it's really fun. Okay.
Agreed.
All right. Let's see. Who else do we have? Christine, no Mike. I'm assuming that's what she's saying. Erin Moore, are you on the line? Okay. Andy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Give me the 30-second overview.
So basically, I had taken real estate classes years and years ago after I had graduated high school, and I had never finished with the state exam. I'm originally from New Mexico, and so that was something I'd lived with for quite a few years. And after moving to Utah, I was given an opportunity in my career to kind of change things up. So I was able to take advantage of that and get my license, go back to school, get my license. And so that was something that I was very proud of this past year. And I've been an agent with Century 21 since June. And so I was just happy that I finally went out and did it. And Kenzie was the one who recruited me. And, you know, out of all the brokerages that reached out, she was the most consistent, most persistent, and just made me feel the most comfortable. So that's really what brought me in. She's awesome.
For sure. All right. Thank you, Andy. Courtney, how about you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here. Let's see. I might turn my video on.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and you can see my wonderful room behind me. So
hey, your bed's made. That's all I noticed.
It is. I am a notorious bed maker, so now you know. No, so I am actually an interior designer as well. I've been doing that for about 6 years, and I love it, but it's not my everything. I much rather just prefer working with people. And so I decided to add real estate on and see if I could pair the two together to work with people and doing both the design side and the selling and buying side of things, whether that's redesigning and selling or buying, redesigning, you know, new builds, whatever it may be. But that's kind of my goal, is to pair those two together.
Awesome. Thanks, Courtney. I'll tell you what, if you can successfully pair that, 20 years of experience has taught me a couple things, just a couple. And one of those is, even though we go out and show couples, who predominantly is the decision maker?
The woman.
Yeah, and Andy and Philip and others, don't take this the wrong way. We can be successful too as guys, but that connection between females, and especially if you could talk design features, I think you got a leg up. So good job.
Oh, good. Well, thank you.
All right, let's see. Nita, I know you already. I'm not going to ask you anything. Nicole, are you there? All right, we're not going to waste too much time.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
are you
here.
there? Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for 20 years and I love it. But it just takes a toll physically. So I wanted to kind of scale back on that and push forward on real estate. I'm just a new agent, just got my license.
Well, Nicole, if my wife, when I met her, was doing hair. In fact, she did hair all the way through our first pregnancy. So standing on her feet, she's a trooper, but she's a realtor now too. And
Yeah.
I attribute a lot of her success to those hairstylist days, because you have to have the gift of gab to be a good hairstylist, and you have a great network and people like you, and you have this natural ability to just connect with people. So I expect big things from you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Jennifer, we got you and Erin left. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Jennifer. I've had my license for a few months. I actually was talking to a family friend that works for Everest, and he kind of, got the idea in my head. And I took my test, and here I am. And I chose to stay with them because they're willing to work with my schedule. I
Right.
currently work a full-time job, and I'm in grad school, and I decided to do real estate. So
Is that all? What else you got? Come on.
who needs sleep, right? So I
I
figured
mean, it is the era of COVID. You may as well do some stuff, right?
exactly. So I figured it's just the perfect time. Just try it all.
Awesome. Very good. All right, Erin.
Hey guys, I'm Erin. I've been with the company since June, and I am loving Century 21 and super excited for the second floor to get renovated. That's going to be great for the energy that it's going to bring. And I am on this call because my transaction coordinator alluded to the fact that I suck at Dotloop. And so here we are.
Who's your transaction coordinator?
I'm not telling. And so here we are. I promised her I would take a Dotloop class. And so this is what we're doing today.
So it's either Jen or Marissa. Is it either? Did I get one of them right?
Nobody talks about the Fight Club, okay?
I love it. I love it. Well, okay, on that high note, I'm just going to echo in on that. And I think Ellery would attest to this. We see with 500 agents, sorry, let me just give you our structure real quick. So we've divided our risk management and compliance into 2 tiers. Ellery manages essentially tier 1, and that is really the Dotloop front end and getting documents in and checking for, completeness and some non-terribly complicated issues. When they get a little more complicated, she bumps them up to my group, which is myself, Rob Oakey, and Ken Averett. We're the tier 2 risk management, and we deal with the ugly underbelly of the business, from lawsuits to division of real estate complaints to code of ethics hearings to arbitrations and broker calls and angry client calls. And now you understand why I look the way I look. I have to be intimidating, so I usually give them this look, and then they go away. I'm just kidding. But anyway, looking at files from over 500 agents, we kind of see a pattern, right? There are some that resist a system, right? I don't know why, honestly. I'm a systems guy. Maybe that's why I don't understand. But if you embrace the system, it makes your life literally so much easier. It makes you look better in front of your clients, and that translates into dollars. So anybody who's resistant against that, I scratch my head and go, I don't understand why. Why do you resist? Is this just your general nature? Don't be one of those. Let us help you make a successful business for yourselves. Okay. Anything you want to add before we jump into Dotloop?
I think that's spot on. Let's get everybody at least on the path to becoming Dotloop experts.
Yeah.
And your life will be easier.
So Dotloop, I'm going to turn this on now so you can see my screen. Oops. Let's see.
Let's share screen
Uh,
2, but minimize everybody's face.
screen 2, yes.
And drag everybody on the Zoom meeting over.
Huh?
No, yes.
Hold on 2 seconds. We really are able to do this. I'm gonna take this off of full screen.
Yes. And scooch
And
it
then
over.
we will share the screen. Yes. Screen 2. Share. All right. Can you see my screen? Just wave a hand and give me a thumbs up if you can.
Got it.
All right.
I
Fantastic.
can see it.
All right. I'm gonna make this full screen.
So can I start the introduction
Please
here a
do.
little bit?
Yep.
So I like when I'm training new office
I'm gonna let
administrators
you drive.
or people of that variety, I like to introduce Dotloop as a giant filing cabinet. And if you think you've got your filing cabinet at home, and inside of that filing cabinet, for each transaction you do, you're going to have one of the green hanging file folders that are hung in there. And inside of that file folder, you're going to have individual folders. One will be for your listing paperwork and one will be for your under contract paperwork. So if you kind of take it in mind, I like to be a little visual when I approach something, a little bit tangible. That's how I can look at Dotloop. It has so many great features and other things that we'll get into and cover. But if you can just think of it as, this is my filing cabinet, this is my vehicle to go ahead and hand my paperwork into the office. And with that, we can jump in and start.
So while you're jumping into that, let me just chime in.
Okay.
Go ahead, jump in. I've had some agents say, well, gosh, why do I have to turn paperwork into the office? I've got it. I've got it on my laptop. I've got it in my backpack. I've got it, whatever. And it really has very little to do with us being controlling or anything like that. A document that I'm in all the time is the administrative rules for the Division of Real Estate. I don't expect the agents to know all of the rules that are in there, but there's two main sections in there that I concentrate on. It's affirmative duties of a licensee and prohibited actions. And one of the affirmative duties is anytime that you as an agent working for a broker gets a signed document, a contract, that could be your buyer broker, your exclusive right to sell, or a real estate purchase contract, you're to turn that into your broker in a timely fashion. If you don't, you're in violation of division rules. And I don't know, those of you that have been here for a few months might already be aware there's a quarterly newsletter that comes out that shows all the violations that various agents have been written up for, fined, some of them having their license put on probation. We don't ever want to see that for you. So it's not just us wanting to control the files, we're actually fulfilling some of the responsibilities of your licensure. So this is a great tool to help accommodate that.
All right, with that being said, I wanted to start back here. We've just pulled up one of the training videos, and at the end of this, we can point out where you can access the training videos within Dotloop, so you can go back and review the basic training. We're going to use this as a foundation, and every once in a while when questions come up, we can hit pause, discuss, and point out slight differences that we have within our company.
In fact, if you have a question while we're going through it, a significant question, please just in Zoom, if you know how to raise your hand, we'll see that and we'll pause the video.
All right.
The main loops page.
Let's go back a little bit. Here we go.
You're paused.
I hit play. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Premium Agent webinar. All right, so right now what you guys are looking at is the main loops page. On your Dotloop account, it might look a little bit different. And that's because of this icon over here on the far right-hand side. So this is our different views of the loop. Currently, we are looking at grid view. It's a little bit more visually appealing there. If you add a picture, you might see it. And we've also got list view. Everything's a little bit more linear here. Your loops and your information is listed out. You can't see a picture. And then last but not least, we've got compact view. So it's all scrunched down into one view here. Now, personally, I prefer grid view, so we're going to keep it here for the remainder of the training. As I switch through those different loop views or the main loops page views here, you notice at the top, all remains the same. So the search bar is still there. We've got our filters. We can sort through the different loops, and we can even add a loop, and that all remains the same. So what we're going to do today to start out with is create a listing loop. So what we've got here, let me go ahead and start the loop. When you're creating a listing, it's best to use the property address. If you are using, or if you're creating a transaction for a purchase, it's best.
I just want to chime in as important things come up. That is our policy with the company. I mean, we have sometimes agents put in crazy names and then they want us to help them by going into a file. If you would do it this way, put the address first, 1091 South Valley Sage Drive. Then if you want to put something after that, dash, Barton transaction or something like that, we don't care. But the way the Dotloop searches, it makes it so much easier for us to track down data if you always start with the address.
And also a side note here, when you are first working with buyers, you obviously won't have a particular address to enter. So it's fine to create your loop at first with your buyer's name. But once you do go under contract, you would want to update this portion, and we'll get into that a little further, so that it reflects the property address that you are under contract with.
Yeah, in this case, they're just doing a listing loop, so no buyer name at this point.
All right. Any questions so far? We good?
Okay.
All right.
To use the buyer's names. And that's just because when you're adding buyers in the very first time, everyone has their own view of the loop. So they see that very first loop name that you've added them to. So that's why if you guys are putting offers on different transactions, it's really just best just use their names. So if things change, it stays the same for them. All right. So we are going to be working with, let's think of a loop name. 6 Hanman Avenue. I just thought of that in my head. All right, we're not going to use the loop template.